So let me finish with some observations about the situation in Syria today. Well, the first thing to note is the size. Syria is already the largest Islamist foreign fighter destination in history. There are some 8 to 12,000 Sunni foreign fighters and perhaps around 5,000 Shiite foreign fighters in Syria. So after 3 years, you already have more foreign fighters in Syria than you had in the entire 12 years of the 1980s Afghanistan conflict. You also have unprecedented numbers of Western foreign fighters. Somewhere between 1,500 and 2,500 Westerners have gone. And that is probably, that is perhaps twice as many Europeans as went to all previous foreign fighter destinations in the past combined. How do we explain this? I think it has much to do with ease of access, that the constraints on prospective recruits are very, very low. It's easy to get there. As I mentioned, many states sympathize with the rebellion and have not wanted to crack down on people who try to support it. Also, the rebels control territory in northern Syria and to control the inside of the Syrian border. So there are sort of foreign fighter-friendly people manning the one side of the border with Turkey, which reduces one barrier for prospective volunteers. Another factor is clearly the severity of the conflict. This is one of the deadliest conflicts in the world since the Second World War, and it's a particularly brutal one. It's also a very visible one, because this war is taking place in the age of social media and cheap digital cameras. So the human suffering in Syria is objectively very large, and it can be projected to an outside audience in a way that no other conflict has in the past. A third related factor is social media, which are basically a new communication technology which provide prospective foreign fighter recruits with much better information about what the situation is like in Syria, how to get there, and information about friends and acquaintances who may be there. So one thing we see in Syria that we haven't seen in previous conflicts is foreign fighters on the ground who record sort of videos from the field, where they say, "Oh, this is what life is like here in the trenches. I'm speaking to you, my friend back in London. I know we're just the same. And just a few weeks ago, I was just like you, living the life you live. But I can tell you, this new life is fantastic. I urge you to try it." That kind of peer-on-peer propaganda is something new that is enabled by social media, and that I think drives some of the recruitment. Who goes? Well, the median foreign fighter in Syria is basically a young Muslim male, non-Syrian. There are very few Syrian foreign fighters in Syria. Also, we see that many of the foreign fighters from the West have links to an established Islamist community in their home countries. They have connections with communities that are already radicalized. What motivates them? Well, the declared motivations are very common. You find them in all of the recruits. They will say that they want to help the Syrian people, and many of them say that they want to meet a religious duty, the duty of jihad. And some of them also say that they want to be part of the Islamist sort of enterprise in the region. They want to support ISIS in particular, this new jihadi state in the region. But there are important undeclared motivations too. This is clear from the social media that they post and the videos we see from the ground. Clearly, adventurism is important for many of them. Many of them enjoy the camaraderie that comes with being a foreign fighter, and I think also many appreciate the opportunity to sort of make a difference. This is what political scientist Elizabeth Wood called the pleasure of agency. It's palpable in foreign fighters in Syria. It's important to note, though, on motivations that the recruits seem to have become more jihadi over time. So in the beginning of the Syrian insurgency, you had more ideological diversity. You had more kind of secular motivations, people who saw this fight as a tail end of the Arab Spring. Whereas from 2013 onwards, you get mainly very religious people and people with sort of Islamist convictions. In terms of travel and logistics, most people today travel through Turkey. They go by plane to Istanbul, take a bus down south, and cross from there. But it's also possible to enter from Lebanon, although it's harder. Some are recruited in the sort of strict sense of being approached by a senior figure, but most people seem to want to go themselves. They seek out, they develop the motivation, and they seek out the practical information they need. And once they're in Syria, the majority of foreign fighters take part in fighting, at least at some point. They may do other things as well, but it's clear from the evidence I'm seeing that most of the foreign fighters are interested in fighting and volunteer for combat operations. They're not overwhelmingly involved in charity work. If that was the case, we would see it in the evidence from Syria, and we don't.